here's what I'm doing. Repotting tomatoes. So I have, this is a beefsteak tomato that I started from seed, and it's doing really good, but it's getting too big for the cup I grew it in. So how I do this is, if you want to start from seed, make sure you have a food safe container. Whatever plastic you're using is food safe. And I actually got these cups at the Dollar Tree. And let's see. They're over by, they're kind of hard to see. They're over by like the colored party decoration stuff. And I think I do have more. You can get different colors. Here it is. You got 16 of them for $1.25, and these are food safe. So I start my plants, like here's some coleus that is starting. See those? And then when they're big enough, I move them into a cup. There's a little bell pepper baby. And then when they get so big for the cup, I either put them in the ground or a bigger pot. So this is an accordion tomato. And right now I have in my garden, right there, and there, 4 accordion tomato plants already ready. So sometimes I grow these extras just in case, like something dies off or something comes and eats it, and I have another one to plant in it. And so I have a few extra tomato plants that I might end up just giving away now because my other ones are pretty established. So these are these tomatoes are at a crossroads. They either need to go into the ground or a bigger pot. This is yellow pear tomatoes, another yellow pear tomato, and then the beefsteak. So I'm repotting in case I come across another spot or somebody who's looking for a yellow pear tomato plant. But I wanted to show you, here's what's going on with the peas. Oh my gosh, look at it, they're already growing so far up. So here's a good tip. If you want to grow peas like sugar snap peas or vining peas or any kind of peas, don't buy just like the one pea plant at the nursery because it's not enough. It's just one measly little vine. You need a whole bunch. And so what I suggest doing is buying a package of the seeds and opening up the seeds and then pouring them all along something like this, and then you'll get peas. But I wanted to show you also, I also planted some beans. So imagine a green bean. This is from last year. It wintered over. I left a few in the pod. Now look at the pod took it over the winter. But open, when it's open, totally perfect. So I replanted a bunch of beans. Down here too, I threw them in there. I threw some in my garden. They do better, of course, when you cover them with dirt, but look at, do you see this? That is a seed with a root coming out of it. It is rooting itself now. So that's how it happens in nature with no human intervention. The seed pod is hanging on whatever it grew. And now spring is here, the wind blows, and it'll blow those little seeds out. An animal comes and knocks it, It pops this open, this disintegrates, and then it replants the seeds all wherever it lands. So I was recently showing that a seedling has false leaves. So the first 2 leaves of a seedling will always look different than the actual leaf of the plant. And that's because they're not actually the leaf. They're called a false leaf, and they are part of a seed. And so this morning I was looking at my plants and I thought, what a great thing to show, because here's a perfect example. Look at that. You can see the white casing of the seed. That little mouth, like feed me, Seymour, is the actual sides of the seed. And then the plant, it grew a root, just like what we just looked at, and it rooted itself. And then it popped open the top part of it out of it. And then the actual seed part, that mouth-looking thing, it will fold open and create those 2 false leaves. And that seed is feeding the whole plant. And then you will notice the false leaves will get thinner and thinner, and then they'll just kind of shrivel up and die off. That's actually part of the seed that gave your plant life. So that was a really cool, the way it's showing. And then right here, so it's happening here too. But here you can see the seed is actually turning into the leaves. Do you see it there in the background? I'm trying to get it. Yeah, there it is. It's actually turning into the leaves. The one on the top there, right under that branch, is more leafy than the other one. But both of those were part of the actual seed. Isn't that cool? So I'm just kicking it in the garden right now. So now we're back at the beefsteak tomato. There it is. Check it out. Part of the seed. Those are the false leaves. That is actually part of the tomato seed right there. Look at how hairy that is. Tomatoes are so cool. So when it's about this big, you know what you do? Pull that off on that, because you want to make sure with tomatoes you don't have too many leaves, because it'll just suck too much energy. And this clearly is done with those false leaves. Pretty neat, huh? I also wanted to show my dwarf iris I have. So it bloomed. So this is just like a big iris. It's called a dwarf iris. Look at those little hairs on it. It's just a really little iris. Isn't that neat? So this is my butterfly garden here. And I have some perennials that are coming up. So this iris moved. Look at, see where that iris is? You want to see where its family is? That's the iris patch. I've already had one bloom from there. But this one came up over here. Look at you, darling. You're destined for success. Some other cool things is I have a nasturtium that I planted here. Well, it's just like this. Nasturtiums are vining plants, though. This one, I'm hoping it will vine down. I grew it next to the tree here, so I'm thinking it will grow up the tree and look really cool on the trunk. Every part of that plant is edible, including the flowers. They taste kind of spicy. My stairway to heaven, Jacob's ladder, is about ready to bloom. See it? It's really pretty little blue flowers. So it's all coming back, slowly but surely. Right here, this is called Beard's Tongue. These have really cool white flowers that are kind of have that neat hairy look to them, like the iris. Now everything that you see here, all these rocks, everything except that fairy, that was a gift to me many years ago. Everything I got for free on Craigslist, in the free section of Craigslist. That urn, that planter, everything. This cobblestone, all of those retaining wall blocks, all the any kind of stony type stuff in my garden is all stuff that I got out of the free section. Most of my tomato cages, pretty much, I would say 95% of these pots, including all these and these and this container, all that wire, all the cages, everything free off of Craigslist. All my gardening supplies. People love cleaning out and starting anew in the spring. Every Craigslist has a free section. You can get so much cool stuff for free. I dug out, I cleared my path. Here, I've got a path here. I cleared it out. And see those little babies? Planted some bell peppers here. They love growing here. So the town I live in is called Ridgefield because we have this really rich dirt. It's really nice to grow stuff in. So I spent quite a long time yesterday just kicking it, chilling to music, clearing out my field. I had to clear out creeping Charlie, some invasive thistle, and I also cleared out recently the fern garden. Look at the ferns. The ferns are on the go. All of these ferns I got for free. They've multiplied a lot. They're moving out of the garden. And a lot of these are king ferns. And so really big ones. It's really neat to see them unfold, unroll. So the fern garden's totally spread out, which is interesting. I have a bunch of hostas. The backyard is, I call it my English garden. I just kind of let it go. My backyard here, I have all these variegated hostas that I have just in the ground here. I think I'm going to move them now. These are really pretty. And so I have a lot of these plants. Aren't they cool? Totally for free. All of these stepping stones for free. I actually have to clear out back here. I've been working on the garden lately, and I'm kind of the only one who works on any of the house improvements here, so it's kind of hard. Here's the old hangout area. We used to call it Temple of the Tadpole because When my kids were little, in that ring there, we had a little kiddie pool that we put in there, and a pump, and it created a little waterfall, and we'd put tadpoles in there. Go to the local lake, and you can just see like a shadow of tadpoles and scoop them up with a bucket and bring them back in here, and the kids would sit around with their friends and raise tadpoles all summer, and then the tadpoles will hop out when they're done. Pretty cool. So we called it Temple of the Tadpole. Now it's, I think it's becoming a fire pit. Now the kids are teenagers. So that's the thing, if you, like, from an advice from a parent, if your kid, now I got all of this, all of these stones that we called it the temple because they look like little temples, and you set them up to sit on. I got all of these stones for free on Craigslist. All of this, I had a kiddie pool, but you always see kiddie pools. I got this big log planter for free. These little topiaries. It looks a little kind of ratty right now, but once it's full and in bloom and everything is going, it's really kind of magical back here. And the kids all got to experience hanging out by water. And these are urban kids. And right here, there is a brown wall. You see that brown wall? The other side of that wall is the exit ramp of a major interstate, 35W. So I am an urban city dweller, but my kids and their friends got to have their own little pond that they hung out at all the time. And so that's a really great idea, and it didn't cost me any money. I just had to put some effort into it. So, and the kids, they don't, you know, they're not like, oh, this was just a bunch of ratty free stuff. No, they remember the Temple of the Tadpole. Laughing, constantly having a can of bug spray back here, hanging out, finding baby turtles. There'd be turtles in there all the time because I live right up by a nature center, and so we get a lot of animals here. So just to remember, you don't need a lot of money to create memories for your kids. They don't remember like how much mom or dad spent on that. They remember hanging out at it. And so that's a good thing to think about. I just heard cornucopia. Cornucopia, I'm gonna do something. So this is about what hanging out with me is like. You wanna see my dress? It's got a bunch of M's on it.